Okay, so you're thinking about getting Starlink for your boat. Or maybe you're already out there, cruising the digital seas with it.
Right.
Well, buckle up.
Yeah.
Because some pretty big changes are coming.
Yeah.
And they're going to rock the boat for a lot of folks.
A lot of folks.
Especially those who love that freedom of unlimited data.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We're talking about the end of all-you-can-eat internet on Starlink.
Oh, wow.
Pretty significant shift, considering how many boaters rely on that unlimited data for everything.
Yeah.
From, navigation to entertainment while they're out on the water.
Yeah, for those who might be new to the whole Starlink scene,
Yep.
It's essentially high-speed internet beamed down from space,
Mm-hmm.
keeping you connected even when you're miles offshore, far from any cell towers.
Right.
But now Starlink is changing the game, saying goodbye to those unlimited data plans.
That's right. This is a major move away from the model that a lot of internet users on land and at sea have gotten used to, and it's definitely going to require some adjustments.
Yeah.
Especially for boaters who rely on a steady stream of data.
Right.
For things like weather forecasts, chart updates, even staying in touch with family back on shore.
Right. No more catching up on your favorite streaming shows while you're anchored in a secluded cove.
Yeah.
I guess I'll have to actually talk to my crewmates now.
Right.
But seriously, this change is going to impact how we all use Starlink on our boats.
Yeah.
So let's break down exactly what's changing and what it means for you.
Starting April 1st, 2025.
Okay.
All current Starlink plans, including those unlimited options, are sailing off into the sunset.
Oh, wow.
No grandfathering in.
Okay.
So even if you're happy with your current setup, you'll be automatically transitioned to this new system.
So what does this new system look like?
Think of it kind of like your cell phone plan.
Oh.
You get a certain amount of high-speed data each month.
Right.
But instead of just getting, annoying buffering on your Instagram feed, running out of data on Starlink could mean losing access to crucial navigation tools when you're out at sea.
Yeah.
And that's not something you want to mess around with.
No, that's serious business.
Exactly. The new system is built around data blocks and access fees.
Okay.
The basic unit of data is now the gigabyte, and it will cost you $1 per GB for Starlink global data.
Okay.
You can purchase data in blocks of 50 gigabytes or 500 gigabytes.
So the big question is which block is right for you?
Right.
The 50 gigabyte block might be enough for weekend trips if you're mainly using navigation apps and checking email occasionally. But if you're working remotely from your boat streaming music or downloading podcasts, you're going to chew through that pretty quickly.
Yeah. And let's not forget about those essential software updates.
Oh, yeah.
Which can be data hogs.
Right.
And you definitely don't want to get caught mid-update with a throttled connection.
Oh, no.
So if you rely on your connection for work or entertainment, you'll probably want to opt for that 500 gigabyte block just to be on the safe side.
Right. And on top of that, you'll have a monthly terminal access fee.
Yes.
This is like a subscription fee just to use the Starlink system. It's $75 for Starlink Local, which covers inland use.
Okay.
And $150 for Starlink Global, which you'll need for offshore and international waters.
Right.
So those costs can add up pretty quickly, especially if you're a frequent cruiser.
It really makes you think about how much data you're actually using, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
We've all gotten so used to unlimited plans that we might not even realize how much data we're actually consuming. This change is going to force us to be more mindful about our data usage and prioritize what's truly important.
Okay, so we've talked about the data blocks and the access fees, but the million-dollar question is, what happens when you hit that data cap? It's not like you can just pull over to the side of the ocean and find a Wi-Fi hotspot.
Well, get ready for what's called data throttling. Once you exceed your data allotment, Starlink is going to hit the brakes on your internet speed.
Okay.
We're talking a nosedive down to 1 Mbps download and 512 kilobps upload.
Ouch, that's going to make downloading charts or sending large files feel like you're back in the dial-up era.
Exactly. Imagine trying to download a critical weather update while you're in the middle of a passage, only to find your connection crawling at a snail's pace.
Right.
This new system means you'll need to become a bit of a data strategist.
Okay.
Prioritizing essential activities.
Right.
And carefully budgeting your usage.
Okay, I get why people might be freaking out about these changes, especially losing that unlimited data safety net.
Right.
But let's be honest, nothing is truly unlimited, right?
Right.
Even those old unlimited plans had their caveats and fair usage policies buried in the fine print.
You're absolutely right. And while losing unlimited data might seem like a step backward, It's important to remember that these changes come with some potential advantages as well.
Okay, like what?
For example, Starlink is now offering a 99.9% network availability guarantee with their global priority plans.
Wait, 99.9%?
Yeah.
That's like saying the internet is basically guaranteed to work. Even if a hurricane is bearing down on you?
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That level of reliability is a game changer for safety and peace of mind.
Right.
Especially for those who are venturing far offshore.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to rely on a stable connection for emergency communications, even in the most challenging conditions.
Right.
That's a huge plus.
Okay, I'm starting to see the silver lining here.
Yeah.
So we've got data caps and throttling, but we're also getting a rock-solid guarantee of connectivity.
Right.
It's a trade-off for sure, but one that a lot of boaters might be willing to make.
Yeah.
Especially if it means having a more reliable connection when they need it most.
And let's not forget about the advancements in Starlink's technology. They've been constantly improving their system.
Right.
And the new high-performance equipment they're offering could make a significant difference for users who are serious about getting the most out of their connection at sea.
That sounds intriguing.
Yeah.
But before we get into the nitty-gritty of those new gadgets, let's address some of the concerns that people might have about this whole shift. I know a lot of folks are wondering about the cost.
Yeah.
How to manage their data usage.
Right.
And whether there are any alternative options out there.
That's a great point. There are definitely a lot of questions swirling around these changes.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure you have all the information you need
to
navigate this new landscape.
So let's dive into those concerns and see what we can uncover.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right. One of the biggest questions I'm seeing online is, how do I avoid going over my data limit?
Right.
And getting stuck with those super slow speeds?
Right.
And the truth is, it's going to require a little more attention to how you're using your connection.
Right. Like we were saying earlier, you'll need to become a data strategist out there on the open water.
Exactly.
No more leaving those software updates running in the background or letting the kids stream movies all day long.
Exactly. It's about setting priorities and making conscious choices about how you're using your precious gigabytes.
Right.
Fortunately, Starlink provides tools to help you monitor your data usage.
Okay.
So you can keep an eye on things and avoid any surprises on your bill.
So it's like a fuel gauge for your internet connection.
That's a great analogy.
Keeping an eye on it and making sure you don't run dry when you're miles from shore.
And just like you wouldn't want to run out of fuel in the middle of the ocean.
Right.
You don't want to lose your internet connection when you need it most.
Especially if you're relying on it for weather updates or navigation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that could get a little dicey.
And speaking of dicey situations, let's talk about what happens if you do exceed your data limit.
Okay.
We mentioned the throttling earlier.
Right.
But there's a little more to the story.
Oh, there's always more to the story.
Well, by default.
Okay.
Starlink has this thing called automatic top-up enabled.
Okay.
It's like overdraft protection for your data plan.
Gotcha.
Once you use up your initial allotment, they'll automatically add a 50 GB block of priority data to your account.
So it's like a safety net to keep you connected, but it'll cost you.
Precisely. It's designed to prevent you from getting completely cut off.
Right.
But it does mean you'll be paying for that extra data, and those extra charges can add up quickly.
Okay.
Especially if you're not careful.
So what's the alternative? Do you just get thrown overboard into the digital abyss if you opt out of the automatic top-up?
Not quite overboard, but if you exceed your data limit and you've opted out of the automatic top-up, your service will simply be throttled until the next billing cycle.
So you're still connected, but it's going to feel like you're dragging an anchor through the internet?
That's one way to put it, but for some users, that might be a better option than racking up extra charges. For data they don't really need.
Right.
It really comes down to personal preference and how you plan to use your connection.
It's all about having the information and making informed choices.
Exactly.
So we've covered data limits and throttling. What about some of the other details, like sharing your connection with multiple devices?
Right.
Can I still use my phone, laptop, and tablet on the same Starlink plan?
Absolutely.
Yes.
You can have multiple terminals connected under the same service line.
Okay.
So all your devices can access the internet.
Great.
It's a lot more convenient than having to manage multiple separate plans and bills.
That's a relief.
Yeah.
I was starting to get a little worried about juggling all those devices out there in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
But wait a minute.
Yeah.
If I have multiple devices connected, does that mean they're all sharing the same data allowance?
That's right. Think of it like a pool of data that all your devices draw from.
Gotcha.
So if you're streaming a movie on your laptop, eat into the same data bucket that your phone is using for navigation.
So it's even more important to be mindful of your data usage if you've got multiple devices connected.
Exactly.
One person's Netflix binge could really throw a wrench into the whole operation.
It's all about teamwork and shared responsibility
when
it comes to managing your data usage.
Now, I've heard a lot of buzz about the reliability of Starlink.
Yeah.
Especially with these new global priority plans. They advertise this thing called a 99.9% network availability SLA.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty impressive. Is that like a guarantee that my internet won't go down?
It's as close to a guarantee as you can get.
Okay.
That 99.9% figure means Starlink is committing to providing service availability that high.
Right.
Barring any truly catastrophic events.
So short of an alien invasion or a massive solar flare knocking out all the satellites, I should be good to go.
Pretty much. And for boaters.
Yeah.
Especially those who venture far from shore.
Right.
That level of reliability is invaluable.
I can see why. Imagine being in the middle of a storm and needing to download an updated weather forecast.
Right.
Or send a message to the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
A reliable connection could be the difference between a smooth sail and a major headache, or even something more serious.
Exactly. And that's one of the key benefits of those global priority plans.
Okay.
They're designed for users who demand the highest level of reliability.
Right.
No matter where their ventures take them.
So it sounds like those global priority plans are really geared towards the serious cruiser.
Yeah.
The folks who are living the life on the water, need a connection they can count on.
Right.
But what about the casual weekend sailor?
Yeah.
Are there any options for those of us who just want to check email and maybe stream some music while we're out on the bay?
Of course, Starlink offers a range of plans to suit different needs and budgets.
Okay.
The 50 GB data block might be perfect for a weekend getaway.
Right.
And you can always upgrade to a larger block if you find yourself needing more data.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So it's not like you're locked into one plan forever.
Right.
You have the flexibility to adjust as your needs change.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that Starlink is constantly evolving and improving their system. So even if you're not thrilled with the changes right now, it's worth keeping an eye on what they're doing in the future. Who knows what kind of innovations they'll come up with next.
That's the exciting part, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're just at the beginning of this whole satellite internet revolution, and things are changing rapidly.
Right.
What seemed like a luxury just a few years ago is becoming increasingly essential for staying connected in a world that's more mobile than ever.
That's a great point. We're seeing a shift in how we think about connectivity.
Yeah.
And Starlink is definitely at the forefront of that shift.
Okay, so we've talked about data caps, throttling, network availability, and even multiple devices. But before we dive into the world of high-performance equipment and alternative options,
let's address one last detail that I know is on everyone's mind.
Oh, you mean the dreaded B-word billing?
You've read my mind.
I knew it.
Let's face it, no one likes to talk about bills, but it's an important part of the equation.
It is.
Especially when we're talking about a service that's essential for safety and communication.
Absolutely. Transparency is key when it comes to billing.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure you have a clear understanding of how the new Starlink system works.
Right.
So you can avoid any unpleasant surprises.
So let's break it down, starting with the prorated billing question that popped up earlier.
Okay.
Let's say I activate my Starlink service line in the middle of a billing cycle. Do I get a discount on my bill for that month?
Unfortunately, not on the data portion of your bill.
Oh.
Starlink will prorate the terminal access fee.
Okay.
So you'll only be charged for the portion of the month you use the service.
Right.
But for the data itself, you'll be billed the full amount regardless of when you activated the service line.
So even if I only use the service for half the month, I'm still paying for the full data allowance.
That's right. Think of it like joining a gym in the middle of the month.
Okay.
You still get access to all the facilities for that billing cycle, even if you didn't start using them on day one.
Okay. That makes sense. I guess I can't argue with that logic.
Right.
But it's definitely something to keep in mind, especially if you're planning on using Starlink intermittently or for shorter periods.
Absolutely. It's all about being informed and making choices that align with your usage patterns and budget.
Speaking of budget, I know a lot of boaters are concerned about the costs of using Starlink.
Right.
Especially now that those unlimited plans are going away.
Yeah.
Are there any strategies for keeping those costs under control?
Well, we've already talked about a few key strategies, like monitoring your data usage carefully,
Right.
choosing the right data block for your needs, and potentially opting out of that automatic top-up feature if you're comfortable with the risk of throttling. But there's another option that might be worth exploring,
Okay.
especially for those who are looking for more flexibility and potentially even better value for their money.
Oh, I love it when there are more options on the table.
I know.
Tell me more about this mysterious alternative.
Well, it involves going through a third-party reseller,
Okay.
a company that specializes in providing Starlink solutions specifically tailored for marine use.
Right.
They act as a sort of intermediary,
Gotcha.
purchasing data in bulk from Starlink
Okay.
and then reselling it to their customers under their own plans.
So it's kind of like a wholesale club for Starlink data?
That's a great analogy, and just like a wholesale club.
Okay.
You might find that you get better value and more personalized service going through a reseller, like Marine Data Solutions.
Wait a minute, Marine Data Solutions?
Yeah.
Isn't that the company that keeps popping up in all these online forums and articles about the Starlink changes?
Yes, indeed. They've been making quite a name for themselves in the marine connectivity world, and for good reason.
Yeah.
They have a deep understanding of the new Starlink system.
Okay.
And can help boaters navigate these changes with ease.
That sounds incredibly valuable, especially for those who might not be as tech-savvy or who just want a more hands-on approach.
Exactly. And their Starlink global priority plans are particularly appealing.
Okay.
For boaters who are looking for more flexibility and control over their data usage.
Okay. I'm all ears. How do their plans differ from what Starlink offers directly?
Well, for starters, they offer a wider range of data blocks to choose from.
Okay.
So you can find a plan that fits your needs more precisely.
Gotcha.
They also have more flexible billing options.
Okay.
So you can tailor your payments to your cruising schedule.
Right.
And in some cases, they even offer better pricing than Starlink itself.
So it's like having a personal concierge for your internet connection.
That's a great way to put it. They take care of all the details, so you can focus on what matters most, enjoying your time on the water.
Okay. I'm sold. If you're a boater or someone who relies on Starlink for connectivity at sea, definitely check out what Marine Data Solutions has to offer.
Yeah.
They could be a valuable resource as you navigate these upcoming changes, but let's be honest. Those changes can feel pretty overwhelming.
Right.
Especially for those who are used to the simplicity of unlimited data.
Absolutely. It's a big shift.
Yeah.
And it's natural to have some concerns and questions.
So what are some of the key things listeners should be thinking about as they prepare for this transition to a new era of Starlink connectivity?
Well, first and foremost, they need to be aware of the changes and how they will impact their current usage patterns.
Right. No more blissful ignorance about how much data you're actually using.
Exactly. It's time to start paying attention to those data usage meters and to think critically about which activities are truly essential.
Right.
And which ones can be scaled back or even eliminated.
So it's all about prioritizing and making conscious choices about how we're using our data.
Exactly. And it's also about being proactive and exploring the available options.
Right.
Don't be afraid to reach out to Starlink or a reseller like Marine Data Solutions to ask questions and get clarification on the new plans and pricing.
That's such a great point. Knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Especially when you're dealing with a changing technological landscape.
Absolutely. And once you have a good understanding of the new system, you can start making informed decisions about which plan is right for you.
Right.
How to manage your data usage and whether or not you need to invest in any new equipment.
Okay. That all sounds very sensible and level-headed. But I have to admit, a part of me is still mourning the loss of unlimited data.
Yeah.
It just felt so freeing. You know, like the digital equivalent of sailing the open seas without a care in the world.
I understand that feeling. We've all become accustomed to the idea of unlimited access, and it can be hard to let go of that.
Yeah.
But perhaps this is an opportunity to reevaluate our relationship with data.
Okay.
And to consider whether unlimited access is truly necessary or even desirable.
That's a thought-provoking perspective. Maybe this is a chance to break free from the data-guzzling habits we've developed and embrace a more mindful approach to our digital lives.
Precisely. And who knows, maybe this shift towards more mindful consumption will lead to innovations in data compression, efficient routing, and other technologies that help us do more with less.
That's a great point. Constraints often drive innovation.
Exactly.
So while the end of unlimited data might seem like a loss, it could also be an opportunity for new and creative solutions to emerge.
Well said. And speaking of innovations, let's shift gears and dive into the world of high-performance equipment and explore how these new gadgets can enhance your Starlink experience at sea.
Okay.
Because even though we're saying goodbye to unlimited data, there's still plenty to be excited about when it comes to staying connected on the water.
Okay, you've got my attention. Let's talk about those high-performance toys. What can these gadgets do that the standard Starlink equipment can't?
Okay, that's all great advice for individual users, but let's not forget about the businesses out there that rely on Starlink.
Right.
Especially in the maritime world. What do they need to know about this shift?
Yeah, that's a good point. For businesses, especially those operating fleets of vessels or managing remote operations, reliable connectivity is absolutely mission critical.
Right.
And just like individual users, they're also going to be impacted by the end of unlimited data.
So no more of those set it and forget it unlimited plans for businesses either.
That's right. The Roam Unlimited plans, which were popular for companies with employees traveling frequently or needing constant connectivity on the go, those are being phased out too. Everyone's moving to these new priority service plans.
Okay.
But these are specifically designed with business and enterprise needs in mind.
So it's not just a scaled up version of the individual plans.
Right. There's something different about these business-focused options.
Exactly. These priority plans for businesses offer different levels of service data allowances and features, depending on what the company needs, plus that 99.9% network availability SLA we talked about earlier.
Right.
That applies to the business plans, too. That's got to be a big relief for companies that rely on constant uptime.
I imagine, so no business wants to deal with downtime, especially when it could mean delays, disruptions, and lost revenue.
Right.
Reliable connectivity is essential in today's fast-paced business world.
Absolutely. And these new priority plans offer a level of flexibility and customization that could actually benefit many businesses. They can choose the data allowance that best suits their needs, and they have the ability to scale their service up or down as those needs change.
That makes a lot of sense. Businesses aren't static, their needs evolve, and their data usage can fluctuate.
Right.
Having the flexibility to adapt their internet service is crucial.
Precisely. It's all about finding the right fit for your specific operational needs. And with the options available through Starlink's business-focused plans, companies can create a connectivity solution that aligns perfectly with their goals.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the nitty-gritty details of data caps and throttling to the broader implications of this shift away from unlimited data. But before we wrap up, I want to go back to that thought-provoking question you raised earlier about the future of the unlimited data. Is this truly the end of an era?
It's a question worth pondering.
Yeah.
We've seen this trend towards data caps and tiered pricing models across the internet landscape.
Right.
Not just with Starlink.
Right.
As demand for bandwidth continues to grow and the costs of providing that bandwidth increase, it's possible that unlimited data plans will become increasingly rare.
It's a shift in mindset, really. We've become so accustomed to the idea of unlimited access.
Yeah.
But perhaps a more mindful approach to data consumption is what's needed going forward.
Perhaps it encourages us to be more aware of our usage habits, to optimize our activities, and to really consider the value we're getting from our internet connection.
Yeah, and who knows, maybe this shift will lead to innovations in data compression, efficient routing, and other technologies that help us do more with less.
That's a great point. Constraints often drive innovation. So while the end of unlimited data might seem like a loss, it could also be an opportunity for new and creative solutions to emerge.
Well said. So as we conclude this deep dive into the world of Starlink and the changing landscape of internet access, one thing is clear: change is inevitable.
It is.
But by understanding the forces at play, adapting to new models, and embracing innovation, we can continue to connect, explore, and push the boundaries of what's possible.
And perhaps along the way, we'll discover that a more mindful approach to data consumption leads to a more balanced and sustainable relationship with the digital world.
That's a fantastic note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll be back soon with another exploration of a fascinating topic. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.